So yesterday we stopped at slide number 50. So today we are going to look at, we are going to continue from where we left. We are going to look at effective communication, active listening, then information management. Those are the concepts that we are going to look at. So communication can be effective or it can be misunderstood. Effective communication is one that results into the appropriate outcome, the desired outcome that we want. If our communication is misunderstood, it creates confusion and therefore it becomes ineffective. So we can look at communication in terms of two things: effectiveness and then the outcome. If your message is delivered in a clear way, then it will be able to achieve the desired feedback that you're seeking for. So it is very important that you craft your message in a way that will result into the desired outcome. If you don't communicate appropriately, it can cause negative effects. Okay, it has no negative outcomes. Ineffective communication causes negative consequences. So it can be costly, and you will not get the results that you want or you intend to achieve. So it is very important that you convey information in the most efficient way possible. And when you do that, you will not miscommunicate. So what are the things that you really need to look at in your communication? If it is a physical interaction that you're having, then check your own eye contact, and then also maintain the eye contact with the person that you're speaking to. It's also very important to look at mouth movements, okay, because it helps in portraying what you're communicating or what you're listening to. Body language, we talked about this yesterday. And also yesterday we mentioned that even silence is a mean of communicating. You can communicate through silence. So silence can even be a way of giving feedback. Also, if there is any expression that shows that the person perhaps may be in doubt, you can ask a question for you to get feedback. That feedback allows you to know whether the person has understood what you're communicating or not. So we have what we call the 7 C's of communication. With these 7 C's, if you follow them religiously, you're going to be good at communicating. So these are being clear, concise, concrete, correct, coherent, complete, and then courteous. So we're going to look at each of these C's and see what they mean and how we can avoid the pitfalls. The first C, which is clear communication. Be clear about what you're writing or what you're communicating from the start. Okay? This is very good for managers. If you're a manager in an organization or in a project, clearly stating your goal in your communication, whether by email, whether by phone call, is very important. Don't mix up ideas. One sentence should communicate one idea. Okay? Avoid assumptions. Make sure that what you're communicating is clearly understood. So that means that if you're going to use a technical term that may not be easily understood, then defining it could be very important. Okay? Especially if you're writing technical terms or jargons. You may think that because the person that you're communicating to is in the same field like yours, they will understand it. Sometimes it may not be the case. They may not really understand what you're communicating. Okay, so be as clear as possible in communicating. And this has usually to be in the first paragraph if you're going to write an email. I am writing to find out whether my product is ready. It's clear. The goal is to find out whether the product is ready. That's the first C. So we move to the second one, which is concise. Concise is the opposite of being verbose or being wordy. You use a lot of words to describe something that is that you can describe in one word. Okay. For example, instead of saying that, just a moment, someone has just entered. Instead of saying it is too big, you can just say it is huge. So the word huge is replacing two words, which is too big. That's just an example. That instead of using many words to describe something, you can use just a single word. Okay? We have words that don't really that don't communicate anything in your sentence. They are space fillers. If you remove them, the message does not change. So you get rid of them. Remove those unnecessary long sentences or unnecessary words. Okay? Avoid adjectives that are compound, when you can use one adjective, one word. Okay? So that is being concise. Speaking a lot does not mean that you are too wise or that you understand a lot. Usually they say the most quiet people in the room are the most intelligent. So if you speak a lot, you're not portraying a level of intelligence. You may actually be speaking things that have already been said. If you have attended meetings, you might have realized this. Someone has been quiet all along, then they say they want to speak. Then everyone is almost exhausted. Then the person speaks for 4 minutes or 5 minutes. Yet whatever he's speaking is what has been said before. So you bore people and you waste people's time. And this also goes to if you're the one actually organizing the meeting. If you're convening a meeting, there is a tendency that meetings have to they go for a long period of time unnecessarily. So instead, make it clear from the start that these are the things that you're going to talk about, and then make sure that you contain people to focus on the key things. Otherwise, people may talk forever. Concrete communication. Convey a clear picture with vivid details. Provide solid information for better understanding. If you have ever delegated, um, delegation has levels. There is when you delegate someone to go and check if the meeting has started. There is when you delegate someone that if the meeting has started, let the person attend. Uh, let the person attend the meeting on your behalf, and then you can also delegate the person another level that okay, if they are going to attend on your behalf, they should also be able to make decisions and contribute on your behalf. Okay, so this kind of delegation means that you need to provide clear information about the whole task, how it is going to be, and that is when you can delegate it to someone and that person can execute it well. If you provide inadequate information, then the person will not execute the task in a proper way. So sometimes there are details that are actually important about a particular uh, message that you're trying to deliver. So make sure that that message is actually passed, or that kind of information is passed. That is concrete communication. Correct information, of course, just like the word states, correct communication refers to information or communication that is not having errors and that is also fit for the audience. You correct, you communicate the right information or the correct information to the right audience, and it shouldn't have errors. Now, I've seen a lot of communication that correct communication is one which is actually written even in correct punctuation, correct spelling, and then even when it is spoken communication. So let me write down some of the errors that I've seen that people don't actually distinguish. So there is this. I hope you're seeing my screen. There is that. And then there is that. And then there is. So who is going to tell us the meaning of each of those three words? Raphael. What's the meaning of each of those words? Ali.
Yes. Um,
Uh-huh.
quite, according to me, quite is just like you being not like sharing anything. You are not contributing anything. That's the meaning of quiet to me.
Quite. The first one.
Yeah, you don't. The last one, I think.
The last one. Quite. Okay.
Yes.
Uh-huh. The next one.
Uh, quit. Quit to me, it is like you are trying to exit from the communication. Yeah. Then the first one, I have no idea now.
I have no idea. Yes, thank you. Another person? Dawa? Uh-huh. If you're going to speak, you open your mic. Yes, so this one is the word is quiet. You're keeping quiet. Can you speak? That's the first one. Quit is to leave. I'm quitting my job. That's the second one. And then this one is quiet. It has been quite long that we have not met. So some people confuse these two. Someone tells you you're quiet. No, it's the word is supposed to be you're quiet, which is this one. So how you write this, how you write this, it tells you different meanings. Okay, so that means that you're not communicating the right way. So that is correct communication. You will also see that communication, the message that you want to communicate may be different based on punctuation. The punctuation alone can change the message. We'll look at that in sentence structure and punctuation. So we got the next one, which is coherent communication. This is we want you to flow. We want you to flow. For example, when we ask you to describe how South Sudan obtained its independence, it means that you need to be the paragraphs need to be logical. There is you're describing the chronology of events in a logical manner. One sentence connects the other. Not the things of moving to the other point, then you go to the other point, and you go to the other point. No. You need to structure your communication. If it is the introduction, you need to write it properly. The last should not be the first, and the first should not be the last. That is being coherent. Okay? Each point should be connected to the other in one way or the other. So this is where you need to know the conjunction words. Patrick will teach you about using conjunction words in essay writing. However, contrary, similarly, in contrast, in comparison, these are conjunction words that connect sentences or paragraphs. If you don't use them appropriately, your work will look illogical. Your essay will not look nice. It will not make sense to the person who is writing, who is reading, I mean. Okay? So that is coherent. Complete, provide all the necessary information that is needed for a person to act. Now, this is also very important for managers. For every email that you write, or for every report that you're writing, For every letter that you're writing, you need the person who is the recipient to act. And if you have read documents, you will see that the call to action, which is basically you want someone to act, is usually in the first paragraph. Okay? Usually in the first paragraph. For example, I have a letter here, which I wrote earlier. The letter says, I hope this letter finds you well. I am writing on behalf of Ristal University, proposing a strategic collaboration between this and that. So the reason for why the letter is written is clearly stated in the first paragraph. And what I need the person to do follows immediately after that paragraph or after that sentence. Whatever structure you could want to take. But the call to action should be very, very clear. What do you want the other person to do? That is what you call to action. Courteous is the last C, which is basically for in your communication should be friendly, open, and honest. This one relates to what we talked about the other day, about being assertive and being aggressive and being passive. You want to communicate in a friendly, open, and honest way. Even when you are opposed to what the other person considers to be the right thing to do. Okay, so that is those are the 7 C's of communication. They come with practice. The more you write, the more you communicate through writing or even through verbal communication, the more you will gain experience in communicating. Okay? So we move to the next one, which is effective listening, which basically means that you need to be able to identify and select the relevant points with meaning. Understand these points and put them in the short-term memory. And if you want to use that information later on, place that information in the long-term memory. Usually this happens automatically. If the information is important to a person, the person will not forget. It just goes into the long-term memory. So in listening is nothing if you don't decode the message. Decoding the message is getting the meaning out of the message. You have to look at the person's expression, body language, and the words that they are using to speak and how they speak. It allows you to get meaning out of the message that is being delivered. The emphasis always is on being attentive, or what we call an active listener. You need to develop the skills of being an active listener. If you are an active listener, it is very easy for you to pick the key facts and ideas that are being communicated. It requires that you actually concentrate and focus on listening as a task. If you don't consider listening as a task that requires concentration, then you're not practicing what we call active listening. Okay? Active listening is you pay attention, you concentrate, you leave other things, and follow what is being communicated to you. So that means that you sit and listen attentively, pay attention to other external stimuli that could be around the person who is communicating to you. Interpret the messages, the symbols, the behavior, the mannerism the communicator is portraying. And then you decide on the value of the information. Like I said, if the information is very relevant and you'll be able to use it in the near future, it most likely goes to the long-term memory. But if you consider the information to be irrelevant, then it will not go there. And then you provide feedback. The barriers to communication basically are the same barriers to listening. So here I pick a few things. If you are seated in a noisy place, if you have prejudice, what we call this is related to what we call the stereotypes yesterday. You have judgments about other people. That means you will not listen to them properly. You already know if someone is coming to you complaining about a certain thing, but you have made your own judgment about them before listening to their story. You will not listen actively. Okay, some people only practice what we call selective hearing. They only listen to information that is important to them, and then they don't focus on what doesn't, what is not in line with what they think is important. And then the other aspect is if you're listening to someone who has a different perspective altogether, or different ideology, or different ideas, then you will not listen to them. And this is common on social media. I don't know if you have checked your friends, the friends that you see, that you have on your social media platforms. You will realize that the friends that you have behaviors that are similar to yours, or they have opinions or perspectives about life that are similar to yours. We are drawn closer to people that we resemble, that we are drawn together to people that behave like us. We are drawn together to people that think like us. So if someone thinks like you, then you'll be very attentive in listening to what they are saying. If the person has a different opinion or different perspective, you will turn a deaf ear. Okay? Rehearsing responses can also be a barrier to listening. Being inattentive. These days we have smartphones, like people don't want to put down their smartphones, and therefore you're talking to them and they are on their phone. You take someone out, instead of talking to you, they are on their phone. I wonder what type of adults we have. If you have gone out, you have made a decision that you want to spend some time with that person. So you put your phone in silence and avoid distraction. So you start conversing attentively. Okay? And then some people don't have what you call an open mind. They don't want to listen to other things that are not in line with theirs. So they have a closed mind. Level of anxiety, biases and prejudices that I've just described, cultural issues, and then also What I find annoying is excessive talking and interrupting. First listen, wait until the person finishes, and then you can interject. Interjection, interjection is important. If a person is stating something that is a lie, then you can interject and clarify. Because if you don't interject there and then, the conversation may take another twist. So you need to make sure that if you're interjecting, interject when it is needed. So as a person, you need to reflect at how you listen to other people talking to you. The, there are internal barriers that are within you that are preventing you from listening. So you need to cautiously reflect on your listening abilities and see if there are barriers, and you can work on them and improve your communication. Okay? So what are the tips? Throughout, I've been giving tips. Eye contact, focus, remove anything that is distracting you, including the phone. Make sure that you are not in a noisy place. You wonder, some people, they call you, they're in a noisy place, and then they call you. That person is almost not ready for communication. You have to call a person when you are in a, some people even call when they are in a busy, amidst a given task. Why don't you finish your task and then give me a call? Today I actually received a call. The person was in a noisy place. So I waited to hear what this person actually says. And this person actually wanted me to speak fast. How do you expect me to speak fast when you called when you are already in a noisy place? So you want me to strain my voice, yet you are the one who initiated the call. Okay? So know the things that will actually make you in a position of not paying attention to. There could be children around you, there could be external personalities. I mean, if you are amidst, you are in a public place and the conversation is not for public consumption, then you need to move away. When you move away, it improves your ability to listen carefully and pay attention. Okay, so minimize distractions. Okay, but most importantly, keep practicing until you really master the technique. Communication is a skill that you keep practicing over and over again. You will never say that I'm perfect. It's never. Every day you learn new things. Every day you know how to convey information. Every day you interact with new audiences. You interact with a person whose language you don't know. You interact with a professor. You interact with an expert. You interact with a variety of people, children and things like that. So you go on improving slowly, and you also need to recognize, actually improving your communication skills starts with the fact that you need to recognize that you have not reached the top. For you to become what you call a communication specialist, it means you have really worked a lot to improve your communication. Okay, so part of the goals of these uh, sessions on communication is for you to recognize that um, you have strengths and weaknesses that you really need to work on, that you can be a good communicator. So we live in a global world where you interact with people who come from different cultural backgrounds. It is very, very, very important that you know the skills of navigating these cultural aspects, cultural values, norms, languages, communication styles, and things like that. They are very important. So intercultural communication focuses on this. If you don't master the skills of intercultural communication, it is likely that you'll be misinterpreted and conflicts can actually arise. And conflicts can actually arise. So you need to know these aspects. For example, if you go to another work environment, they will tell you here you don't do this. Here when you're greeting, this is what you do. Okay, and you learn. Okay, you need to be open to learning, and you don't come with this issue of culture. You think that your cultures are the best, and therefore you have negative attitude towards other people's cultures. That will negatively affect your interactions with the people. So you don't need to form stereotypes. You don't need to have prejudices. You don't need to have biases. You need to be very open and understanding, and you need to be willing to learn and adapt. Okay. In Uganda, there is a saying that relates to, if you go where they eat dogs, you also eat the what? You eat the dogs. It is basically what works for intercultural communication. So, trying to understand what other people are doing and understand their perspectives, adapt your communication style to accommodate the cultural differences. Okay? So we live in a global world. Most of you are working with NGOs. You are working with Spanish. You're working with French. Working with people from the UK. You work with people from Cameroon, from Nigeria, from Congo, from Uganda, even from other parts of South Sudan. So that means that there is no way you can avoid the fact that you're going to interact with people from different cultural backgrounds. And it is not possible that you will be in isolation. It is not possible that you will not communicate to other people of different cultural backgrounds. So it means understanding intercultural communication is very, very, very important. It enables building relationships, enables you to establish business collaborations. You can even celebrate cultural diversity and things like that, because the world is a connected world. So our last concept that we shall look at is what we call information management. Information management. Organizations have data. They usually say, "Oh, I have the belief personally that we live in a generation where the resource is not oil, the resource is data." Okay? If you're given two things, oil and data, which one do you choose? Most likely, you will choose oil. But the truth is, data is the hottest commodity that we have in this generation. Because if you have data, then you can use that data to generate whatever you want. Okay, so that means that in an organization, you need to know how to manage this information or data. If a competitor gets access to your data, then they will be able to know how to outcompete you out of the business. The more you have access to, for example, if at this we have access to the email addresses of everyone in South Sudan, we just write one email and then it goes to many people, and then we are advertising about our product. We couldn't be wasting money advertising, because we could just basically write one email to everyone and advertising our services. So that means that information is very important. Having the access to those emails is very, very key. So as an organization, you need to know that you need to control who has access to your data or information. So information management entails activities related to how do you collect the data, how you store it, if you want to use it, how do you get it, if you want to disseminate, what channels are you going to use to disseminate. Okay, so activities such as classifying, indexing, taking security measures are all very, very important. We are in an era of data analytics where decisions are made based on data. So you need to make sure that you have efficient data systems that can enable you make valuable decisions in your business operations. So, like I said, data is very key. It allows you to improve your operations as an organization, enables you to make decisions, and then also you can be able to reduce risks or data breaches that can happen. If you work with other organizations, you can have a better way of collaborating if you have shared access to data systems. Okay, so that is the concept of information management. In our other sessions, we shall look at written communication. With written communication, we shall basically focus on writing professional emails, writing memos, writing good reports, writing essays for academic purposes, and things like that. Okay, so that's the end of our session on communication. I'll be taking questions. If you have questions, please